This is Attack of the Karens, a roguelite shoot 'em up with a comically ridiculous premise. It's a game that doesn't take itself seriously and is all the better for it. Your main objective is to eliminate the cyborg Karens in order to rid the city of entitlement. The story will play out through voiced scenes, typically taking place before and after boss fights. The voice acting is surprisingly stellar for each of the characters, with the portrayals for the Karens contributing to the comedic tone and hitting that sweet spot for enjoyment.
Hey everyone! These guys are really kicking my butt. So like and share so I can obliterate these grumpy old people forever!
Well, who do we have here?
Marva, the KDF is here to stop you.
Why, you got about as much manners as a hog come to trough! Oh, I couldn't do it! My entitlement wasn't strong enough! Ah!
Seriously? Huge props to those involved with voicing these characters. It honestly added so much to the experience, which for a budget-priced indie game like this, you would expect it to simply have text dialogue and no one would have minded. It would have been expected, actually. The core gameplay is that of a shoot 'em up, but with a lot of different elements common in roguelites. There are 4 main stages that you'll play in a random order, and although the mini-bosses and bosses of each will remain consistent, their enemy layouts and difficulty will vary depending on the order each one lands in your run. Anyone that has ever played a roguelite will be immediately familiar and comfortable with this formula, and it's just as equally addicting as other games in the genre that I've played. Each run will provide you with power-ups and upgrades that will only be at your disposal for that run, but you'll earn chips, which is your currency to unlock your choice of permanent upgrades. This means that each run provides a satisfying sense of progression as you earn more chips to get more powerful, but also improve your own skills. Learning enemy patterns and when to utilize your deflection shield or your bombs, you'll consistently get further and further till eventually you reach the ending. I had a consistent desire for one more run until around the 3-hour mark when I was finally able to overcome its challenges. There was plenty more for me to see and do as I beat the game on just the base difficulty without any active curses or cushions. These modifiers you'll unlock after playing 3 runs, which allow you to alter the game in different ways to make it harder or easier depending on the type of experience you are looking for. The inclusion of these modifiers allows for a wide range of customization for those interested in tinkering with them. During each run, you'll play through the levels in a randomized order. On the right side of the screen, there's a meter that fills as you eliminate enemies. Reaching the halfway point of this meter will yield a mini-boss fight, and then completely filling it marks the point where the level boss will come attempt to end you. Eliminating enemies yields little Sonic-looking gold rings that are your experience points. When you level up, a pod will appear with 3 possible items you can acquire by shooting the pod when the one you want is active. This allows for a bit of choice if the first one shown isn't what you are looking for. And if you want to make it harder now, but easier in future runs, you can always choose additional chips instead of a power-up when available. This adds an element of risk, reward to that run. Bigger enemies will sometimes drop additional items like chips, rockets, and temporary boosts when you have the required permanent upgrades for them to do so. The pause menu inventory screen does a great job of showing you the current run's upgrades you have, as well as allowing you to see the potential evolution of each if it has multiple upgrades in its set. This contributes to making each run feel unique and fun, as you'll not always have your ideal loadout once you learn what that is, of course. So the random nature of run-specific upgrades and level layouts keeps this feeling fun and different each time you play. It also takes some strategy as you do your best to configure the best loadout for your playstyle. The other part of this is the usage of your cooldowns. Once unlocked, you'll need to manage your consumable rockets and your deflection shield to make sure you always have them available when you need them most. Lastly, once you unlock every permanent upgrade available, you'll be able to purchase a really powerful weapon, which I won't spoil, but I also never needed it to clear the game either, so that might be one to save for runs where you activate some curses to increase the difficulty. The one main negative about the game that is a bit jarring when it happens is that in later stages, when bosses throw out a lot of projectiles, there's some very noticeable slowdown and a shimmering visual effect that makes it hard to focus and dodge what's incoming. It doesn't happen often, and in my 3 to 4 hours of playtime, it happened just a few times, but when it does, it's very likely going to result in you taking some hits, which can be frustrating. A couple things I would have liked to see, but didn't find here, are the following. The first, being able to toggle on and off your purchased permanent upgrades in case you don't want to use one of them after purchasing it in order to further customize the experience. Some additional color palette options. Not that I disliked the palette chosen for Attack of the Karens, I actually really like the style of it, but options are always a good thing. I also want to mention that this does have bright flashes, and as a result, it does carry an epilepsy warning. So a toggle to disable those for people that carry that risk would have been nice as an accessibility option. One option I immediately checked for and turned off, so I was happy to see that it was here, was being able to turn off screen shake. I don't know why that's such a common thing to have on by default in video games nowadays, but I absolutely hate it and always turn it off when it's available. So I was very happy that the option was there. Lastly, if you really like the retro CRT look, there's a filter you can toggle on to make this feel a bit more retro. Attack of the Karens is an overwhelmingly fun game that I simply cannot recommend enough. It has some really great pixel art and animations with its appealing color scheme, really funny dialogue with its wonderfully recorded voice acting. It has the appropriate sound effects and really good retro-inspired music, engaging and addicting gameplay with a near perfect level of balance on the base difficulty, but also includes those modifiers if you're seeking an easier or harder experience, a wide range of upgrades, huge variety of different types of enemies and level hazards, multi-phase boss fights. It has it all. So with all that said, I award Attack of the Karens an 8.9 out of 10 total score. I really want to thank Flynn's Arcade for bringing this to the Switch and providing me a review copy to check out. I probably would have never heard of this game if it remained solely on PC, as Steam is just saturated with games, which makes it difficult to find the gems in there. I look forward to whatever the developers at Studio Primitive decide to create next. Attack of the Karens is a prime example of one of the best parts about reviewing games, and that's when I'm given access to one I never heard of but end up loving. So hopefully, I helped you learn about one that you'll end up loving too, whether that's this one I've covered in the past, or maybe even one in the future. I appreciate you watching this review, and I hope you found it helpful. If you enjoyed it, Please like the video, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And until next time, have a good one.
No!